All right, welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most. Another prominent dancehall artist takes a bow. I shouldn't say take a bow, but the curtains are closed temporarily for Tommy Lee Sparta as he will not be around for another couple of years. So the controversial DJ was sentenced today, March 24th, to 3 years in prison for illegal possession of firearm and 2 years for illegal possession of ammunition in the home circuit court's gun court. Before I even go any further, I realize that there is a artist that is already out who seems to mimic everything about Tommy Lee Sparta, so it's going to probably be like someone filling the void for him until he gets back. Knowing Tommy Lee though, Tommy Lee probably has enough music stocked up, and also I am sure he learned from Vibes Cartel, his mentors 10 years plus behind bars, that you should have music, and lots of music on hand. So the videos and the songs will keep coming even though you are not around. And in their field of work, which is this dancehall music thing or music and entertainment, the artist does not necessarily have to be around for money to keep on coming in, if you understand what I mean. So the sentence was handed down 3 months after the dancehall artist Tommy Lee Sparta, who is 33 years old, was arrested and charged by police for having a 9mm Glock pistol with an extended magazine containing 18 rounds of ammunition in it. Police did their search after they intercepted his vehicle, and they said that they found this 9mm Glock pistol with the extended clip, extended magazine containing 18 rounds in it on his person. There was a dispute for a while. People were saying Tommy Lee is going to beat this because I'm sure they didn't find it on him. I'm sure they found it in the vehicle and it was probably other people's. No, it turns out that they found it on his person. Why? I think Tommy Lee had a lot to fear. He made this known. If you look back at an interview that he did with Winford Williams on stage, he made it known that he was paranoid and he was in fear of his life. And he was so paranoid that it was like bothering his nerves at one point, kind of thing. Because he's not sure who is out to get him, but he knows that they're out to get him, that kind of thing. And I mean, given the climate, how Jamaica is ran, enough people, like I said, now, SouFLo, stop make excuse for them. I'm not making excuses for anybody. We all have to accept, especially him, have to accept what the verdict is and do his time. I'm just telling you that there are people here that carry guns to protect themselves, not necessarily to do crime. Because of how the FLA is set up and how the gun laws are set up as far as who gets to get a licensed firearm versus who does not get to get one. See? So the courts ruled that he will serve 3 years in prison as the sentences will run concurrent. Tommy Lee Sparta was represented by Donahue Martin and Queen's Counsel Tom Tavares Finson. Right away, somebody linked me and said, SouFLo, why did Tommy Lee go use Tom Tavares Finson? Isn't Tom Tavares Finson the same person that Vibes Cartel used and ended up getting a life sentence? So did he not learn a lesson from that? Hey man, these lawyers win some cases, they lose some cases. That's just the nature of the beast and how it go. The best of the best lawyers lose a case or two every now and then. You have to understand the links that certain lawyers have, and you're putting your faith in their hands. Maybe if he didn't have Tom Tavares Finson, he probably would have ended up getting more time. I predicted before that based on the history of the relationship between Tommy Lee Sparta and Jamaica law enforcement, that Tommy Lee was going to do some time this time, especially if the weapon was found on him. In other words, in their eyes, It's long run, short catch. They've been after him for a while. Tommy Lee has been locked up and released, wanted for questioning, brought in, then held, and then released. No charges filed, brought to court on scammer charges, dragged through the system, beat those charges, all charges dropped, nothing stuck to him. So it seems like one of those people that kept on getting away. However, long run, short catch is what I am sure they are saying today. Martin said that Tommy Lee Sparta, whose real name is Leroy Russell, had pleaded guilty to the charges. See, all of that was not out in the papers before. We were under the impression that Tommy Lee was not saying anything and he was waiting to see his day in court so he can argue his case and say, that gun is not mine. Now, with a conviction on a gun charge, we can talk about his future. If there was ever anybody who was like, Tommy Lee doesn't even have a criminal history in the courts. He had never been tried and convicted for anything before. So how come him can't get a US visa and them kind of something there? Even though we were told a long time ago that none of the persons that were closely associated with Vybz Kartel, to include people like Popcorn, Tommy Lee, and so on and so forth, will never get a US visa. We've seen people closely associated to cartel get them US visa and fly out already, but we still wonder why Tommy Lee could never get one. Well, now you know. He can cross that off the list because that's not going to be happening for him anytime soon. However, there are other places around the world that he, I'm sure, after he's done his time, will be glad to receive him and be glad to pay him to come do shows. I am guessing that whoever is managing him will take a blueprint from out of Vybz Kartel's book, how the artist is managed as far as his affairs, his songs go, and keep the songs coming as if he is here. And I am sure that Tommy Lee is solidified himself enough in dancehall music that in 3 years' time, his audience will still be here and will be welcoming of his return. See? Now, as far as his sentencing went, the judge had regards for the sentencing guidelines. Additionally, he had regards for the time that Tommy Lee had already served in custody and the fact that he had no previous criminal convictions until this one. The judge had regards that he pleaded guilty on the first relevant date. And based on that, was entitled to 50% discount on the usual starting point. Now, the usual starting point, I believe, was 10 to 15 years for illegal possession of a firearm. But with a simple plea of guilt, you automatically already knock that 10 years down to 5 years. You see what I'm saying? And that is just the way things work. And for those of you who are going to be cynical, please remember that I've been saying this for the longest, before Tommy Lee got involved. I've been saying it for the longest that that's one of the parts of the laws in Jamaica that I don't understand, especially where murder is concerned. Tommy Lee didn't commit any murder, but obviously the same principle applies to firearms as well as to murder. So I'm kind of tired of seeing like man kill their woman and go to court and plead guilty, and automatically his 30 years is knocked down to 15 already. Then the judge puts all these other factors into place, his age, rehabilitative potential, all this, and before you know it, a man killed his girlfriend out of a jealous rage and gets away with doing 10 to 12 years in prison, 15 years max, and these kind of things. So I've never understood that part of the law, but that part of the law did save Tommy Lee this time with his guilty plea. When you see if him never plead guilty, they would have gave him the book, okay? And I was expecting him to not plead guilty, because no news outlet or credible sources told us ahead of time that Tommy had pleaded guilty. I saw a video come out of Tommy Lee behind bars. He was DJing and making himself at home. Now I know why he was DJing, feeling so comfortable behind them bars and making himself at home. Not to withstand the fact that he just came from there. He literally just came from there. They had just arrested Tommy Lee not too long ago, and I believe he did about 5 months. So with the judge taking all these things into consideration, this is how he had arrived at his sentence. 3 years for the gun, 2 years for the ammunition, a total of 5 years, which is to run concurrent. Meaning both time will run right alongside each other. The 3 years along to the 2 years. When that 2 years running concurrent runs out, he will still have 1 more year to go. So in essence, he got served more time than who I predicted he would get served, no less time than. However, he will serve less time than Laden will in jail, in prison. Tommy Lee is the latest dancehall entertainer to be sent to prison, because we've had this thing go on now for some time where the dancehall artist them was just coming out one next one gone to prison, another one gone to prison, another one gone to prison. See, so Tommy Lee Sparta is the latest dancehall entertainer to be sent to prison. His mentor, who is Vibes Cartel, as we all know, the teacher was given a life sentence in 2014. And then we had Laden, who recently was sentenced to 4 years in prison for illegal possession of firearm and ammunition. We have Rytical, who is another DJ who was arrested and charged for a similar offense in January, which we covered on this channel as well. And to this point, just to update on Rytical, we have not gotten a guilty plea from Rytical. What we have gotten is from those representing him some information that has said the gun was not his and he was on a video shoot set and there were other people who had access to the car and could have placed the gun in his vehicle. So we will wait to see how Rytical thing goes. I hope Rytical understand that charge, if he does not plead guilty, he will be faced with the full. So this is what you call caught between a rock and a hard place. Do I get caught without my gun and let some jealous gangster or so-called gangster gunman, extortionist, somebody who feels like I am rich and wealthy and what I have worked for is theirs, come and get me and take my life away? Or do I arm myself and be caught with it? In other words, I'd rather be caught with it than be caught without it. And 3 years is a little small price to pay for the life that I am leading. So, Rytical is waiting on his case to come forward. And let's not forget, SouFLoTV, a very talented DJ from the Idonia camp, SouFLoTV, also is awaiting his trial. I believe that SouFLoTV has actually pled guilty. I am not sure at this point, and is awaiting sentencing as well. In 2014, Tommy Lee Sparta was banned actually in the Dominican Republic because the church came out, and I guess Dominican Republic, church and state mixed together heavily. The church came out and said that we don't want this satanic demon on our island. He is here to drop off demonic vibes. He is here to open portals. We don't want him here. And he was banned from performing after flying to the place booked to perform. That year, he was arrested and charged with the lotto scamming thing. He was freed of those charges, and his lawyer spoke about a lawsuit against the Jamaican government for all the things they had been doing to him, basically for defamation of character and for loss of wages in the millions. Well, that lawsuit definitely would not stand up today now after all this. Last August, Tommy Lee Sparta was arrested for being part of criminal activities in rural St. James Parish, where he is from. He was wanted for questioning again. They took him into an area that was under state of emergency and held him under state of emergency rules. He was charged. He was not charged after he was held for 5 weeks in custody. 1 month and 1 week in custody. So he was no stranger to lockup, and I think that little stint of 5.5 or 6 weeks, that was preparing him for the 3 years that he got today. Everything happens for a reason. I wish Tommy Lee all the best. I know his family is a very close-knit family, and I know right now that they're feeling it, but here what? 3 years, run off in no time. Tommy, go and hold your head. Do what it is you have to do. Burn that time up. Use the time. Don't let the time use you. And I am sure there is no other character like Tommy Lee in dancehall music. And Tommy Lee must pay the price for this gothic dancehall character that he has created. To me, it is his blessing and it is his curse, if you understand what I'm saying. So don't let the time do you. You do the time. And when you come a road again, when you forward again, your audience will still be here. That also is my prediction. I will also predict that he might be able to get even bigger behind bars than he is now. And he's already huge on the spectrum of dancehall elites. Right? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. It's SouFLoTV. I'm out. Peace.